What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Tim Burton's Dumbo. So we're now less than a week away from the release of Aladdin, which is going to be Disney's latest live-action remake of one of their classic animated films. And so Dumbo was the other one that came out not too long ago. I missed it when it first came out, and I finally got around to go checking it out. So here we go, let's talk about it a little bit. So before I get too far into this, I do want to apologize for the lighting and how dark it is in here and what time of day it is. I've tried to avoid doing any really dark reviews like this. I have done a couple on the channel before, but I've been trying to avoid them. But yeah, I just wanted to get this review out because I have so many more reviews that I really want to do, and I just saw the movie, so it's fresh in my mind. Yeah, guys, I just wanted to say that quick little thing. So Dumbo, I actually really enjoyed this movie, guys. Leading into the movie, I had heard a lot of things about it being kind of boring or a little lackluster, or just you know, they really didn't feel anything watching the movie, and a lot of people just said it wasn't really that good of a movie in general. Now, I did hear positive things about the film too. It just depended on the person I spoke to, but it didn't really feel like there was one general consensus on the feelings of this film. But for me personally, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. So the main thing I think I should say that's similar to the animated classic is that this movie definitely is a sad film. You know, there's definitely uplifting moments, especially in the third act when things are being resolved and all that. But, you know, this is a sad story. And so there are a lot of portions of this movie where you're definitely feeling it's like it's a bit of a downer. You know, it's very serious, you know, not overly serious, you know, like overly gritty or anything like that, but definitely plays with some really sad themes and some sad topics. And you find yourself really just angry with the circus industry and all of that the entire time that you're watching. But I feel like that's exactly what this movie and that story really is. There's no real way to tell this story, whether it was in animation or in live action, without it really being a sad telling. This is a sad story, and I feel like there's just really no way to get around that. Similar to the remake of Pete's Dragon, this is probably one of the most different live action remakes that Disney's done thus far. Maybe I would say like Alice in Wonderland is another kind of different one, where it takes that source material and that original telling of the story and really changes it up while also telling the same general story. So this is that same story of Dumbo that you know. You have the elephant with the big ears, super cute, super adorable, that's separated from his mom, separated from his family, and is very sad, and you know, he's made fun of for his ears, and he ends up being able to fly. So you have this really sad story about this elephant who just wants to be reunited with his family, his mom, and you know, he's being exploited for what he can do while also being treated almost like an abomination. So it's hard not to feel sad and some anger towards certain things and people in the film, but I think that they executed that well in this film, and you do really feel for Dumbo in this movie. Another thing that I have to give them props for when it comes to the writing of this film is, though there are slow moments and there are some things I'm going to get into that I wasn't a fan of, they really expanded the story of Dumbo more than the animated film ever did. For those of you who don't remember, the original Dumbo animated film is one of the shortest Disney animated features that ever released. It's right under an hour. It's really not that long at all, and this one's pushing it to almost 2 hours. They really had to expand that story. They really had to build on it and play on it. They really couldn't just make it you know, less than an hour. So this one, similar to Pete's Dragon, like I mentioned, is very different from the original film. And though it has that same general story that you can follow and that you know, and that if you go into this movie kind of knowing what Dumbo's about, you get that in this movie. But there's definitely a lot more filled out, a lot of characters that don't exist in the animated film. And there's a lot of characters that were in the animated films that really have no play in this film. The biggest example I can give is that in this film, the animals do not speak, so you don't have the little rat, I can't remember his name from the original film, but the little rat that has, like, you know, the circus gear on, that always hanging out with Dumbo. Dumbo doesn't speak in this movie, so you don't have the animal characters that you had in the original film, and this film really kind of is mostly about the human characters. Before I get into the humans, which are probably one of my least favorite parts of the movie, just as far as Dumbo goes, I think that the design on Dumbo, the elephants, the special effects, the CGI on him was just so well done. You feel for the character. You are super emotional for him. He's super cute throughout the entire film. It's hard to like not have been invested in him as a character when he was on screen, because they did such an amazing job. The art department did an incredible job designing him, and really the CGI done on his expressions and his eyes. There's so much character and heart and charm in his character through his eyes, and you know, the performance that they gave through the CGI was just fantastic, and I couldn't help but feel for him and just want to pet him and just want to love him, just want to help him throughout the entire film. Yeah, I think that they just nailed Dumbo in this film. If there's anything that I can be proud of or happy of for them, is the fact that they nailed Dumbo, you know, the name of the film. He was fantastically done, and I felt for him the entire movie. I was literally constantly, my heart was just feeling for him the entire movie. So as far as Dumbo goes, they nailed that part. As far as the human characters go, you have Colin Farrell in this film, you've got Danny DeVito, you've got Michael Keaton, you've got Eva Green, you've got some really solid actors in this film, and I really enjoyed everybody's performance. Nobody gave a bad performance in this film for me. I really did enjoy their performance and what they brought to the film. I think the biggest issues for me is there are things in this narrative that just feel a little slow or a little rushed. There's characters that progress as far as their relationships a little quicker than I think that the screen time actually deserved. For example, there are characters that just get a lot closer from one scene to the next, and there really wasn't that development that happened. It just felt like things progressed a little quicker than they probably should have, and that's definitely something that kind of, I feel, detached me from really feeling fully connected to everybody. But for the most part, I really did enjoy the characters. I enjoyed the people who were on Dumbo's side. You know, it was hard not to, because the people who were against him, you just wanted to see them get their ass kicked the entire time. But, you know, this is a charming film with heart. It's a little slow at times. There's I think, no getting away from that. This film was directed by Tim Burton, and that, you know, it's kind of disappointing because to say this, but Tim Burton, this movie feels like it could have been directed by almost anybody. And the reason that disappoints me is because I haven't really gotten into it on this channel, but Tim Burton was one of my favorite filmmakers growing up as a kid, and he still is in so many ways. Some of Tim Burton's films are some of my favorite movies of all time. So much of what I love about film and the quirkiness of certain elements of film that I look for in things that I love that sometimes people don't like is because of what I got from all the Tim Burton projects that I watched growing up. So, you know, to watch a movie that is a Tim Burton film and it just kind of feels like anybody could have directed it. It really didn't feel like a Tim Burton film. I guess there's moments where it does, but for the most part, it really doesn't feel like a Tim Burton film. But you know what? As far as him being behind the director's chair, I, gotta commend him. I think the movie is entertaining to watch. I was definitely invested in what was happening. I wish I was more invested in the human characters, since they are the people who are speaking and doing all that kind of stuff in the film. But, I was invested in their part of the story with Dumbo specifically, especially these two young kid actors who are a big piece of this film. I think they did an excellent job, and their relationship with Dumbo really drives the film for me. And, for the most part, I really thoroughly enjoyed this film. I had a good time. Was it perfect? No, but it had some funny moments, it has some charming moments, and it definitely has heart, and it definitely has emotion when it comes to Dumbo and everything that he's going through. My biggest negatives, like I said, would just be that some of the narrative elements were a little slow sometimes. There was things that just felt rushed and felt like things and relationships progressed quicker than they probably should have. But there is payoff for a lot of things by the end of the film, and you do feel good for what's happening to Dumbo by the end of the film. And there's a lot of things that happen throughout that, you do feel engaged with. For me, whenever I feel like I can just emotionally just connect to the center of the story, which in this case was Dumbo, I'm into it. The other characters don't always have to be the most fleshed out thing, because I think this movie is really good. I think this movie is well put together. Some things could have been better, but for the most part, it looks good. I really enjoyed the costume design as well, the production value, all of that stuff. I think so much about how the film feels and looks is really well done, and I have to commend the people who put this movie together, because you can tell there was a lot of love put into it. I just think that some people are going to find this film more boring than I did. I can already see that. I was watching it. I thought to myself a couple of times that I was kind of like, oh, this is getting a little slow, a little boring. I'm kind of losing my interest a little bit. Not so much, but I can already tell that depending on the kind of person you are, you just got to know yourself and know what you're walking into. Watch the trailer. If it doesn't seem like it interests you when you watch the trailer, it just may not be your kind of thing. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was really cute. I think Dumbo was executed very, very well. And I think it's really cool to see them take a story that's really, as far as the original goes, was so short, and expand it and make it its own thing. For me, one of the best things you can do when it comes to a remake or a reboot is really make it its own thing. Especially if you're remaking a story, it's okay to have, the big plot points or the big story beats that we all fell in love with, happen on the big screen. Because that happens in this movie, and it's happened with tons of these other Disney animated remakes. But for me, I thought this movie had a lot of heart and a lot of charm. I really did enjoy Dumbo in this film, the actual character of Dumbo. He was super cute, and I just want to have a Dumbo of my own to just pet and love and take care of. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't really have too much more to say. I do recommend this film if you're a fan of Dumbo, of the animated movie, or if you're a fan of Disney altogether. I think that there's a lot about this film that you really enjoy. I also really enjoyed the score in this film. There weren't really any musical themes that really stuck out to me as something that I can hum or remember for later on. But as far as how the score was implemented into the film for really impactful moments, I think it was done really, really well, and it definitely heightened a lot of moments for me. So I definitely have to praise the score as well. So yeah, good production design, good, you know, just overall CGI, good costume design, very well acted. You know, some slower story elements and some things about the story that I felt, you know, didn't flesh it out as well as it could have been. But as far as the whole movie goes, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good time, and I do highly recommend it to anybody who's a fan of this kind of stuff. And I think for the most part, if you're just looking for a story with charm or something for you to just kind of put on and feel emotionally attached to something, I think Dumbo definitely, the character of Dumbo himself will definitely help make this movie a lot more emotional for you. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my review. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you thought of Dumbo if you've seen it. Did you like the animated film more? Did you like this movie more? Just let me know. I'm very, very curious, guys. As usual, I super appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you guys can be notified for my future videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.